Hello everyone, one last time we welcome you to the set of the Pro Tour. Oath of the Gatewatch was in the books after an amazing Sunday, and BDM, I'm just going to go one word, Eldrazi.
Yeah, there were Eldrazi everywhere. We had 3 different flavors of Eldrazi in the top 8. We had colorless Eldrazi. You could have blue-red Eldrazi, or you could have the ostensibly 3-colored processor Eldrazi.
And then if that wasn't your speed, if you didn't like giant monsters, well, you could still kind of have giant monsters, often with a cranial plating attached. You could play Affinity.
Right, you have your choice of the robot overlords or the new Eldrazi overlords.
Yeah, humans did not fare well in the top 8 of Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch, except, of course, for our 8 humans piloting the decks. Why don't we take a look at the bracket, and we'll show you how things started off here this morning. So if we head this way, we began with Shuhei Nakamura with his colorless Eldrazi deck against Jia-Chen Tao with blue-red Eldrazi. What went on there, BDM?
Well, you know, this was the 6-time Hall of Famer, the 6-time Pro Tour top 8 competitor and Hall of Famer, Shuhei Nakamura, against Jia-Chen Tao playing in his first Pro Tour top 8, and it was the blue-red Eldrazi, giving a reversal of the last round of Swiss, where Shuhei Nakamura played against Tao and could have offered him the draw, but defeated him, and Tao made the top 8 anyway. This time it was Tao who emerged victorious and advanced to the semifinals.
So with Tao advancing, that meant he would play the winner of Luis Scott Vargas, you see there, against Pascal Menard of Canada. This was the first of the Affinity decks into the top 8. This was a close one, BDM.
It was. You know, Luis Scott Vargas came out quickly with two games. Pascal fought his way back, and in the 5th game, you know, we watched him almost use, Vault Scourges became like lightning helixes, trying to fend off the Eldrazi assault, eating Reality Smashers and trading with Thought Seers, gaining a little bit of life, but Thought Not Seers. But in the end, Luis Scott Vargas was able to overwhelm him and advance to the semifinals to face off against JC Tao.
So we knew that we would see later in the afternoon blue-red Eldrazi against colorless Eldrazi, which Tao had already defeated once. Bottom half of the bracket then, Andrew Brown, blue-red Eldrazi, teammate of JC Tao, up against Patrick Dickman's Affinity deck. We don't always have close games, we can't guarantee it, we didn't get it.
Yeah, no, we did not. Patrick Dickman, who is, you know, we've talked about it all weekend long, one of the masters of this modern format. Affinity is his weapon of choice at this point. Even if Splinter Twin had not been banned for this tournament, despite the fact that he has a top 8 with Splinter Twin, he was gonna play Affinity for this tournament. He's known it for a while, and he is perhaps the most prepared Affinity player on the planet. I'm sure there are some other aficionados who would beg to differ, but Patrick Dickman 3-0 past Andrew Brown in the quarterfinals.
So then, would it be America or would it be Europe filling up the 4th semi-final slot? We had Ivan Flock of Slovakia. He was already a Pro Tour champion. And we had our first-time top 8er and first-time Pro Tour competitor, Frank Lepore, with Processor Eldrazi.
Yeah, you know, Frank Lepore had his own take on this, using Wasteland Stranglers and using Oblivion, all sorts of Relic of Progenitus to make sure his opponents always had cards in exile. But in the end, it was Ivan Flock with the colorless Eldrazi deck advancing to the semifinals.
So semifinals, Tao had already done this once, beaten the exact 75 cards that Luis Scott Vargas played. Could he do it again?
Yeah, exact same number of top 8s as well.
6 Pro Tour top 8s, Luis Scott Vargas. Tao, though, he did do it again and made it through to the final. That was, in the end, well, sort of expected, because we'd seen what he'd done in the previous round to Shuhei Nakamura. So Tao advanced to the final, and then down the bottom, the second semi-final, well, that looks on paper like it might be tighter. In fact, it wasn't. In 4 games, who won there?
Ivan Flock advanced to his 2nd Pro Tour finals. Of course, he is a Pro Tour champion in the past.
So, Ivan Flock advances to the final to face Jia-Chen Tao with blue-red Eldrazi. Flock moves on, and at that point, Tao and Flock will go at it in the final.
And this is the same 75 cards, teammates in each stage of the top 8 that JC Tao had to fight against.
So Nakamura in the quarters, Luis Scott Vargas in the semis, and then down to just the 3rd top 8.
Yeah, yes, it gets soft there for him, right? Only 3 top 8s and a Pro Tour title for Ivan Flock.
But Tao really knew what he was doing, and that blue-red Eldrazi deck, kind of preyed on the colorless Eldrazi.
It did. It was so well positioned against both Affinity and Eldrazi, and we even got the beautiful moment of a luck counter. You know, we got to see a Gemstone Cavern sort of steal the play away from his opponent in the last game of the finals. And JC Tao, I mean, you can't really say enough about him and his team, East-West Bowl.
Yeah, East-West Bowl did an extraordinary thing, putting 3 players into the top 8. But as you can see behind us, the champion of Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch is JC Tao of the United States. He will join Owen Turtenwald in the World Championship later this year, because Owen Turtenwald is our mid-season master. Another very fine performance for him. 18th place for Owen gets him the mid-season master slot at the World Championship.
Yeah, just remarkable. And you could tell that JC Tao was just sort of stunned by what he was done. He still seemed almost in a daze, you know, and deservedly so. I mean, it is a murderer's row that he had to get through in this top 8. He did so with aplomb. His deck was the deck of the tournament. Again, on day 1, there were 4 players on his team playing this list, and it had a 95% win rate. It dropped 1 match on day 1. JC himself only dropped 1 constructed match all weekend. That was to Shuhei Nakamura, which he then avenged in the quarterfinals.
We asked him at the news desk just before the show ended, when did you think you were going to win the Pro Tour? And he said,
never. Even as he was dealing those last points of damage, it had not even entered his mind. And you could tell he really was stunned by the whole thing. Seemed a little bit in shock. I imagine when we leave the venue, probably about 45 minutes from now, we'll just see him by himself jumping up and down in the parking lot of the Galleria.
Or possibly just staring at a trophy and going, is that really mine? Well, it is. Stunning is a good word for the weekend, because we saw a great limited format that utterly transformed from Triple Battle for Zendikar.
Yes.
Double Oath into Battle for Zendikar changed everything. But then we moved into Modern. The Eldrazi were there, Affinity was there. We move on in the Modern story to Grand Prix in Detroit, Bologna, and Melbourne. And we only have to wait 3 days now, BDM, to get our hands and your hands on all the great decks from this Pro Tour on Magic Online in the Pro Tour Gauntlet. Make sure you check that out. If you've ever been curious about Modern, if you want to know how to play like this man behind us, that's where you need to be starting this Wednesday. But for now, well, the Eldrazi are back in their box. The robots have wound down for the weekend, and now we move on, because Magic always moves on. Next time, it'll be Shadows over Innistrad, and who knows what horrors await us there. But until we meet again on the Pro Tour or around the world in the huge and wonderful Magic family, for Brian David Marshall from Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch, I'm your host, Rich Hagan, saying bye.